Hi, everyone, and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions, my podcast about knitting, spinning, and sewing. My name is Tommi, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Dynamite Trujillo. Welcome to episode 35 of my podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to any new viewers, and welcome back to any returning viewers. Thank you for joining me today. It is a really nice sunny Friday in September, where I'm coming to you from on the Northern California coast, and we have a Ravelry group for this podcast that you should go check out and join if you have not yet. It is under Squirrel Pie Productions in the groups part of Ravelry, and that's where you'll find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes. It's where you'll find knit along news and giveaway news. So check that out and join in on the fun. We do have a knit along running right now. I'm so excited about it. It's the Deep Dark Night Cow. So you'll find a chatter thread and an FO thread in the Ravelry group for that. We already have some freaking awesome projects that have been put up in both of those threads. I love what you guys are making. It's so cool. It's coming up into the getting dark early season of the year where things start cooling down and getting darker and deeper and spookier. And I am running this knit along through just after Halloween to celebrate that. So any craft that can fall into the deep dark night vibe is welcome. So go check out those threads for more info. We do have some really lovely prizes that I will be able to show you soon for that knit along, and I'm also going to be drawing prizes kind of randomly here and there throughout the knit along from the chatter thread. So check that out next week. I think I'm going to draw the first one. So yeah, I've got a Deep Dark Night knit along project coming up. I'll show you that a little later. First, I'm going to talk about what I am wearing today. I am wearing my Seacoast pullover. This is a sweater by Joji Locatelli. She designed it for Brooklyn Tweed, and I freaking love this thing. This is a pretty warm sweater. It's worsted weight. I used Stonehenge fiber mill, and this is a non-superwash 100% wool yarn, and I believe it's woolen spun, if I remember correctly. It's super fluffy, super warm, and this really gorgeously constructed sweater has this really cool yoke on it. It's a slip stitch pattern, if I remember correctly, top down yoke sweater, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty awesome. I super love it. It's a little fitted, it's a little longer, it's got these nice long sleeves on it that I love, and this was a super easy, fun, wearable pattern that I knit maybe a year or two ago. And I love it. It's one of my favorite sweaters to date. I freaking love this thing. And it's cold enough this morning to wear it. I know I said it was sunny here, but it's also pretty cold. I can feel autumn starting to approach the coast. And I love it. So anyway, that's what I'm wearing today. What do I have? Okay, FOs. I did skip a week last week. So again, I'm feeling a little out of practice. Let's see how this goes. I did not record last week because my house was getting painted. We hired somebody to spray on the main color and prep the house, which is like all of the hard work is prepping. And he sprayed it last weekend when I was supposed to be podcasting, so I was not going to podcast with a guy outside my window spraying paint because I'm a wimp like that. I can't do it. And this weekend we're going to spend painting the trim. So we painted the house aqua. It's like crazy bright and awesome. And then the trim is going to be cream. And then we've got purple and orange accents. Like we're going to do the door and the screen door and the mailbox and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? I'm not a neutral kind of gal sometimes. Maybe I'll show pictures of it when it's all done. I don't know. But it's cool. It's like pretty cool. And I have a house built in the 1950s. It's kind of like the California bungalow style Not really. That's like a way nicer way of putting my house. It looks like a 50s house, you know? It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know anything about architecture, but I'm pretty sure it like looks kind of retro. I don't know. But the aqua really brings that out. I love it. Anyway, on to finished objects. I do have a finished object. It is my mom's birthday present. It's super late at this point. My mom's birthday was on September 9th. But as soon as I get this podcast up, I'm going to be mailing it out to her. It is the Norby hat. So this is a Gudrun Johnson pattern that she had picked out a while ago for me to knit for her. And I knit this out of Dream in Color Smooshy in the Campfire Connections colorway. This is my leftover yarn, and this is a 100% superwash wool fingering weight yarn by Dream in Color. And it's really pretty. It's all kinds of shades of browns and autumnal deep oranges and burgundies, and it's really pretty, and it's a really nice squishy woolly yarn. It's really a little rustic feeling, which I love. And this is a really cool hat pattern. It's got tassels. Check that out. So these are the first tassels I've ever made, and I'm like in love with them. I would not put them on a hat for myself. This isn't particularly my style, but I do love tassels in general. So I am stoked to learn how to do that. And I know I've got some more tassels coming up in my future, as we'll get to later on in the show. So this is a, what do you call it? Chevron. This is a chevron patterned hat. As you can see, it's got a garter band across the bottom, and then it's got alternating stockinette. What is it called? Chevron. What is wrong with me? Alternating stockinette chevron pieces with garter. So this was a really quick knit. It was really fun. I love knitting chevron, and I love knitting garter. So came together pretty quickly. I knit this on a size 4 needle. Yeah, I think it was a 4, which I'm pretty sure is what the pattern calls for. And it came out great. It's slouchy. It's a super slouchy sort of hat. I guess I will try it on. I don't think it's not my style. Like I said, I feel like it looks dumb on me, but it's going to look really good on my mom. So here it is. Oh my goodness. Jeez, my knees. Okay. There we go. Got my little tassels. So this is it. I'm glad it's done, and I can't wait to mail it off to her. She did get spoiled by the last episode where I showed it, but not until she knew it was coming, because I told her her birthday present was going to be late, and she did not want to, she wanted to know what it was. So I told her if she wanted to see it, she could watch the last episode, so she did. So she loves it, and I can't wait to send it to her. Happy birthday, Mom. So that was wonderful to get off the needles. I'm really happy to be done with that. On to whips. The first thing that I have on my needles is living in my Sugar Tots project bag with the pink zipper and the foxes on it. This is my entry into the Deep Dark Night cowl. I have a hoe. This is my first sock. It is a pair of vanilla socks knit out of my, which is Moonstone Dye Works, Undead colorway. And this is my Halloween colorway for this year. That's the first one. Second one is here. And I've got my Coochie Kopi Progress Keeper, which I love. This is a Bob's Burgers character. Here is the Cake of the Undead. I am knitting this on Moonstone Dye Works Stellina sock base, which is superwash merino, nylon, and gold stellina, and I love it. I love this colorway so much. I'm so in love with it. I did a pretty big pre-order for it a week or two ago during my Labor Day sale, and all of those pre-orders have been dyed and shipped off to their new owners. So if you ordered some, I hope you got it and I hope you like it. Join in on the deep dark night, Cal, and knit some undead socks along with me. So I am knitting these on size 1 Chiaogu needles, and these are brand new needles for me. I've been wanting to try Chiaogu needles for a pretty long time. I never tried them before, and I've heard a lot of good things about them. I am enjoying them. The only thing that's like a little is that the cord is really thick and kind of stiff. I am used to Hayahayas. Those are my needles of choice. And Hayahaya cords are really thin and flexible. They do have a little bit of memory. One of mine got a kink in it a while ago and it still has that kink, which is like a little annoying, but it's not a huge deal. These have like no memory, which is really great. Like you can probably kink it. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. But these just like go right back to their shape no matter what you do to them. But they are stiff and they are kind of thick. And so that's it's been taking a little getting used to working with Magic Loop because there's a lot of cord manipulation that goes on in Magic Loop. But I'm getting used to it. It's like not a huge deal. I do really like the needle tips though. What I think I really should be trying is their small size interchangeable set, which I believe has the really flexible thin cord. So maybe next time I'll get a pair of size 1 tips and just like 132-inch cord for socks. But this is my third pair of sock knitting needles now, so now I can knit more socks than I could before. So these are plain vanilla socks. 56 stitches around. I do top down. I cast on 56 stitches for the cuff using the German twisted cast on 2x2 rib and then plain stockinette. I do a heel flap and gusset, which is my very favorite sort of heel. I love this heel so much. It fits me the best. I've tried a lot of different heels in the past. I have tried Fish Lips Kiss. I've tried a double gusset heel. That used to be my heel of choice by Wendy Johnson. And afterthought heels I've tried. I don't like afterthought heels. They're fun, but they don't fit me that well at all. And I always go back to the heel flap and gusset because I love it. And I have it memorized. Like I don't need to look at anything to do it, which is super nice. This is my toe of choice. It's the rounded toe with the Kitchener finish, which is a toe that I made up. And if you're interested in how I do it, I will link to it in the show notes. And yeah. So again, this is Moonstone Dyeworks Undead colorway. I may or may not be dyeing more of this before Halloween. If you're interested, let me know in the comments, and I'll probably do another batch or two before Halloween, in case you want any. So I have been loving this project. This is for, like I said, the Deep Dark Night knit along, also for the Box Socks knit along, which is a year-long knit along hosted by Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast. Of course, it is like the most popular knit along of all time, I'm pretty sure. And yes. Coffee break. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, next up is the sweater that I have living in my Fat Squirrel project bag with the pink pom-pom on it. This is the Brownstone pullover. It is another Brooklyn tweed pattern. This one is by Jared Flood. And I am knitting this for my mother's boyfriend. And I am almost done with both sleeves. I have the first sleeve done. here it is. This is being knit out of Cascade 220 Superwash, which is a worsted weight. 100% wool yarn, and the blue is the navy, and then down here these stripes are silver gray. And first sleeve's done, making progress. Second sleeve, almost done. Now if you'll notice, this project is pretty different than the last time you saw it, because when the last time you saw it, I had both of these sleeves on the same needle, and I got so sick of that I separated them. And after I did that, they just like went by so fast. I'm really happy I did that. So I started them 2 at a time on the same needle, magic loop, and it worked pretty good for a while, but these sleeves get to a pretty high stitch count. This is the extra large size, and I had a 40-inch cord, and they were just like getting smashed on it, and it started getting really unwieldy, and it made me not want to knit them. So I put them down for a while, and then I was just like, I gotta just separate them, because I'm just gonna never pick it up again if I don't. So I separated them, and and I got to start knitting, instead of magic loop, just each sleeve on a 16-inch cable circular needle. So now it's just round and round and round, and I am loving it so much more. They went by so fast after that. So first sleeve's done. Second sleeve is almost done. I'm probably like, I think 5 or 6 rounds away from being done. And then what I will be doing is casting on the body at the bottom, knitting up. Eventually I'll join them, and then it's a bottom-up raglan sweater with a shawl collar. So, yes, making progress on my very first sweater that I am knitting for somebody else. And here's the yarn. This is a Cowboys themed pullover. It is a smoking jacket, which is what he calls this style of sweater, which I think is, I don't know if that's like really what these kinds of sweaters are called, like shawl collar sweaters. He calls it a smoking jacket, which I think is super cool, so I'm going with it. It's Cowboys themed smoking jacket. So the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, the football team, he loves them, and that is why I'm using these colors. The silver gray is the little accent down at the bottom of each sleeve. This is also going to happen at the hem of the sweater, and then somewhere when I'm done with the whole thing, somewhere on the sweater, an unknown spot at this point, I'm going to duplicate stitch a Cowboys star on it somewhere, which is like their logo. So that'll be pretty awesome, I hope. Here's my little schematic of his measurements. So hopefully it comes out the right size. He is not here to try it on as I go. I have high hopes though. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to look awesome, and I think it's going to fit perfectly. So I'm super stoked on the progress I'm making with this. The goal for this is for it to be done by Christmas, so that I can give it to him as a Christmas gift. Yes. I'm knitting it on a size 6, high sharp, for my interchangeable set. My favorite needles of all time. Next whip is another sweater. This one's for me. This is living in my other Fat Squirrel Project bag because she's like my favorite bag maker of all time. And she's amazing. That is Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel and the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcast, which is one of my old favorites. This sweater that I'm working on is another Joji Locatelli sweater. It is the Even Flow sweater, and I'm pretty dang far on this, you guys. Check out what I have so far. This is a top-down sweater. Also with maybe a shawl collar. It's like a really wide banded collar that goes all the way around. You pick it up at the end and you knit a whole bunch on it. I'm really good at explaining things. I am using Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rock medium weight, which is their sport weight Socks That Rock version. They say that it's not a true sport weight because it has a super high twist, so it's kind of like a heavy fingering. The pattern is written for a sport weight yarn. I swatched, I did not get gauge, but it's going to work out because I thought about it. And I know what's going to happen with my off gauge. And it's going to be good. I like what's going to happen. I like what's happening so far. So here's my yarn. It is a gorgeous high twist, super bouncy, 100%, superwash merino. I love it so much. This is the bittersweet colorway. It's a beautiful, like deep orangish, brownish burgundy, kind of, something like that. Here it is in the skein. I have got, I believe, 4 skeins of this. And I am still working on my first skein right now. These come in like 500 yard put-ups, I think. 400 yard put-ups. Oh my goodness. Ah! Okay, so this sweater is this really beautiful slip stitch pattern. I love it. It's pretty easy to work. It's really easy to memorize. It's like a 4-stitch pattern repeat and a 4-row pattern repeat. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I keep track of the rows that I'm on, and every row is like, you know, I glance at it once and then I know what I'm doing the whole row. And it's this really great construction style where you cast on a row of stitches provisionally, and then you work down to work the back, and then you not pick up, but yeah, pick up some stitches from each of the shoulders and then knit down for the fronts. And then I joined everything, and now I'm knitting on the actual body. And I have got my super cool ice cream cone progress keeper. And I am knitting these on a size 6 from my Knit Picks wooden interchangeable set. I started this sweater on my Hiya Sharps, but it was not working out for me. It was unpleasant, and I switched to wood, and it like made all the difference. So just goes to show, some projects, some yarns are great on your favorite needles, and some of them you just need something a little different. So this has been super fun to work on. I really like it. I have tried it on. So far it's just this far down past the sleeve. These are the sleeve holes. And it fits really good. So all I got to do now is work down on the body for quite a ways longer. It's a kind of longer cardigan, which I like a lot. So yeah, I got a lot of this pattern left to do. And then I'll pick up the sleeves, do the collar, and I cannot wait to wear this sucker. I love it. And working on this pattern is another one of those examples that I've talked about before where I kind of end up rewriting the pattern. A lot of sweater patterns, a lot of patterns, you know, every pattern writer has their own style, right? And for this particular pattern, and for a lot of patterns that I work from, especially garment patterns, the way it's written, it's almost always easier for me to rewrite it. So I just take their instructions and I kind of annotate them and condense them down into something where I don't have to read from different parts of the pattern for every row that I do. So I have done this. I'm just going to hold it back here so that you can actually see what it says. But I've got this whole little graph chart thing happening that tells me what to do for each row repeat. It's a 12 row repeat, this whole thing. I said 4 before. That was a total lie. I was totally wrong. It's a 12 row pattern repeat. So I've got all of those listed here in a way that's easy for me to glance at and understand, because the way it was in the pattern with the, you know how in a pattern it'll have like the parentheses and the little stars, and you do so many things repeated within a bigger repeat. So the way it was written in the pattern was just like not clicking for me, so I rewrote all of those, and that is super helpful. And then I've graphed out over here and over here all of my increase rows. So instead of, it's a 12 row repeat, right? And you're increasing I'm just making this up, but you're increasing like every 8 rows. So I need to be able to keep track of that without like counting every time and figuring it out every time. So I've done that here. Like, for example, row 6, repeat 4 is an increase row. Row whatever, repeat whatever is an increase row. And the increase row, she doesn't have you like place stitch markers at the points of increases. She says knit this many stitches and then increase, and then knit this many stitches and then increase. And I tried just translating that into place a stitch marker here and increase before the stitch marker. Somehow I could not make that work. I was just like getting it wrong. So I just wrote out all those numbers here too. For this particular increase row, I increase at this number of stitches, and at this number of stitches, and at this number of stitches. So this is my freaking lifesaver for this pattern, is this little put together piece of scrap paper. And then at the very end, I've got circled the number of stitches that I'm supposed to end up with after I finish this whole little chart. So hopefully that happens, and I've done all of my math right. And stuff like this really helps me, like super helps me, because everybody has a different pattern writing style, and I have one pattern reading style in my brain. So I like to take what other people write and adapt it to where I can just glance at it, look at it easily, figure out what I need to do on that row, and move on. So that's been super helpful. Again, that is the, computer problems. That is the Even Flow by Joji Locatelli, one of my favorite pattern writers. I love her shawls, I love her garments. I will always knit her stuff. I love her podcast too. Next up, what do I have next? Next up is my Marled Magic. This is my favorite project of all time. Like, I'm not even kidding. Let's see, I got a lot of stuff. The Marled Magic sweater. The Marled Magic shawl is a pattern by Mr. Stephen West. It is living in my Gasly's project bag. They're the Gasly's and they're having a party. I love this thing so much. This is my favorite thing I've ever worked on in my entire life. I am knitting this for the Jinx Vine Knit Along 2017. Seriously, guys. Seriously. Ready? Are you ready? I'm not even ready. Oh my god. That's it. That's my Marled Magic. And I am in freaking love with it. Oh, man. Oh, look at it. It's so beautiful. I just want to cry. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I am so in love with this stuff. So, I am using a bunch of scraps. I got together like kind of just all my fingering weight scraps and put them in this bag. So I've got like a ton of different stuff in here. Just today I broke into my first 2 full skeins of yarn because I wanted, okay, let me just, where do you even start with this thing? You start by throwing all your scrap yarn all over the floor. That's what you do. So the first section that I worked on was this. And this section is, the whole thing's 2 fingering weight yarns held together. And this section has 1 strand, which remains the same the whole time, which, oh my goodness, is this colorway. This is the All the Boys colorway by Moonstone Dye Works, my hand-dyed yarn company again. This is a colorway that never made it into the shop. It was an experimental colorway when I was kind of first figuring out dyeing. I love it, so I might try to replicate it. I did not write down the formula because I was just playing around back then. So the whole thing of that section has this held as 1 strand, and then the other strands change. I've got a lot of awesome stuff in here. I don't think I'll go through all of it because I don't even know. And then I've got this section. This was section 2. Both of these sections were in clue 1. This was a mystery knit along last year. And this section, you're doing seed stitch and switching up your yarns throughout the whole thing. I love how it came out so much. Oh my goodness. So this one, I'll talk a little bit about what they are. These first 2 little sections here are all of my yarns from my Oracle shawl. So these are my leftovers of Wool and Vine yarns from the Oracle shawl. It's got Fig Bash, which is this orangey stripe down here, and Prickly Pear, which is this pinkish stripe here, and then held with both of those the whole way is Last Unicorn. And then, let's see, this kind of starting here and going all the way up here, I've got my first ever Jamieson and Smith Spindrift yarn as one of the strands, and that was so fun to work with. I loved it. I want to make a sweater out of that yarn so freaking bad. Held double with the Jamieson and Smith right here is some Hey Holly Ho Hum in the Frankly Lisa colorway. I've knit some socks out of that a while ago. This whole section here is where it gets a little darker, and I love it. I don't remember what I've got in here. A bunch of stuff. So that was section 2. I finished section 2 and started section 3 this morning. And that is brioche. So you've just got a little 1/4 inch of brioche so far up at the top. And it is so gorgeous. I love it. Now for this section, you're holding together 2 strands of yarn and knitting 1 color brioche the whole time. And for this section, I looked at all my scraps and I was like, okay, this is going to be 1 marl throughout the whole section, and it's not going to change, and I want to make it really good, and you need kind of a lot of yarn for it. So I decided to just break into 2 full skeins of yarn and do it that way. So I have got these 2 freaking gorgeous yarns. Ugh. I just love them so much. Okay, so this one is my friend Hannah from the Hannah Made It Etsy shop. And this is her singleton base. It's a single ply fingering weight yarn, and it's the Springtime in Gothville colorway. It is so pretty. I love it. I'm holding that together with Madeline Tosh Mo Light, which is their single ply superwash merino and mohair base, and this is the kitten colorway. I love this colorway so much. It's like this, okay, so I describe a certain kind of color this way like a lot, and I don't know if it's like right, but I really love it. It's like a stone gray. So to me that means like a warm gray, like a gray with like brownish tones in it. And I just freaking love it so much. So I'm so excited about this section. I have talked about in the past couple episodes how I'm kind of over brioche right now, but this is like exactly how I like brioche. A small piece in a larger pattern. And I'm doing 1 color. I do this for 1 color brioche because it's actually 2 colors. You're knitting it as 1 color brioche. So that's a little nicer because there's no sliding and scooching stitches. And I am enjoying it so far. I'm super early on in the brioche section. and I am really looking forward to getting moving on it. These two colors are knitting up so beautifully together so far. I cannot wait until it gets bigger. Oh, I love it. I love this thing so much. I've got my Tilting Planet Progress Keeper on here. I'm like, I could just look at this thing all day. I love how it's coming out. I'm just going to give up on any designer that isn't Stephen West from now on. I think I need to just knit everything that he does. I'm like seriously considering casting on the eyeball shawl. Like now. I was putting together color combinations for it recently. I couldn't think of anything that I could settle on though, so that's why I haven't, but like, that's happening. That's gonna happen soon. That's everything I've been working on. I do have some shop update stuff to talk about. This is in regards to Moonstone Dye Works, which is my hand-dyed yarn company. There is some exciting news on the Moonstone Dye Works front. I have created a website. Yes. I know nothing about creating websites until now. It's been a process. I've been working on it for a pretty long time now. I finally figured I learned how to do it. I did it, and I finally got it to like where I want it. And I am going to launch it now. So moonstonedyeworks.com is the new home of Moonstone Dye Works, kind of. The shop itself is still on Etsy, but we just have a web page that we'll link to Etsy. So moonstonedyeworks.com, I am launching it today, which is Friday, and by the time this goes live, the website will be up. So go check that out if you're interested. There's some fun stuff on there. Just go look at it if you want to. It's got some fun stuff. I think it's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of myself because I did not know anything about this stuff. And through some hours of YouTubing and tutorials, which, dude, you guys, YouTube is like everything to me. I learn everything I know from people who put up tutorials on YouTube. I love YouTube. I love you people who make tutorials for YouTube. Just like, thank you. You're the freaking best. I learn everything on YouTube. Everything. Including how to make this website. So go check it out if you're interested. I'm pretty proud of it. It'll evolve and grow as time goes on, but for right now, it's a wee little cutesy thing, and that's where you'll find us from now on, moonstonedyeworks.com. I will have a shop update tomorrow, which is Saturday, September 16th, right? Yes, at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, and in the shop update, I will have a few colorways, including this business back here, if you'll excuse me. I'm back. So in the shop update tomorrow, I will include a couple of colorways. This one, which will be available on Stellina Sock and Merino Singles, is Stardust. And I created Stardust for my last update, and I really love it. It's a very muted palette of grays, browns, mauves, and it's super pretty. I love it. So that will be up in the shop, as will a brand new colorway. Oh, and a brand new base. Okay, so I'm super excited about this. I have started stocking a new base, and I love it. I'm so like deeply in love with it. It's a 100% non-superwash merino fingering weight yarn. It's freaking gorgeous. It's Falkland merino, and it's non-superwash, and it is so squishy. It is so plump. It is so delicious. I'm so in love with it. So here it is. It does take color quite differently than my superwash bases. So every colorway that I dye on this base is going to be a little more muted, a little more tonal and variegated rather than speckly. Just the way it takes colors, and the base itself is just, I love it so much. It's really soft. It feels more natural than the superwash yarns, but it's not toothy. It's not rustic. It's not rough. It's very soft. It's a 4-ply fingering weight, and it's super bouncy. I love it. I love it. So this is it, and this is on a brand new colorway that I created called Night Circus, and yes, that is named after the novel Night Circus, which if you have not read Night Circus, read it. It's the best. Not even kidding. So this is Night Circus, and I really, really, really love how this colorway came out. It's like a purple gray. It's got magenta and yellow and turquoise speckles in it. I really, really like it. So I've got this on BFL sock and Stellina sock, and I'm calling it Natural Merino is my new base. And you can see that these are much more speckly than this, and I love how it turns out on this. I love them all, seriously, so much. So those are some of the colorways that will be available in tomorrow's shop update. Check it out if you're interested. It'll be at moonstonedyeworks.com. You can still get to it through Etsy, but I'll link to it directly from the new website. So check that out if you're interested. Come check out the new base. I am like super in love with it. I cannot wait. I want to knit. I know I've been talking about the sweater for like a million years. I want to knit that Sunset Highway pullover in it because it's color work, and that sweater seems to work really well with hand-dyed yarns. But color work works so well with non-superwash yarns that I think I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I come up with. Okay, that's it for shop update. I hope you come check it out. I'm super excited about the new website and the new base. On to favorites. So this week, last week or two, I bought some stuff, and they're my favorite. So first thing that I bought was some Brooklyn tweed shelter. I'm a big old huge fan of Brooklyn tweed. I love it so much, and I have hardly ever used it. I've used it a couple times. And I bought this yarn for a hat for my husband. I knit him a shelter hat once before out of their cast iron colorway, which is a really deep gray. And he really likes that yarn. He loves tweed. And so he wants another one, and I had him pick out the color he wanted, and he picked Bird Book. Right? Yeah, Bird Book, which is this tweedy green. And what he really likes about their colorways is that the tweed is all different colors. He is super into that, and so am I. I love it. So this is a worsted weight woolen spun yarn. I love, 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 love Brooklyn tweed, especially shelter. This is going to be a 1x1 ribbed hat. So it'll be a beanie. It'll be all 1x1 ribbing. It'll be pretty long enough to either be slouchy or flip up and be a fitted beanie. And that'll be coming up soon. So I also bought some new needles. So I showed you my new Chiaogu needles. That's what I got. Got the lace ones. And I also got some Licca needles. Yeah, I fell down that rabbit hole and jumped on the bandwagon and whatever else. I decided I really, really wanted to try these. So I went on Amazon, and you can buy the interchangeable pieces all separately. So I got just one little set to try out. I got the size US 6 needle tips and a size 40-inch cord. So I haven't used them yet, but I'm really excited. They are really, really nice. I've taken them out of the package and kind of put them together and felt them. The needles seem like super great. I really like the material. They're wood, but they're like coated somehow or finished somehow to make them really nice and slick feeling, and I really like how they feel. The cable is pretty stiff. The cable feels pretty dang stiff, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. We'll see when I start knitting with them. And if I really am in love with them, I might slowly start buying more pieces to the interchangeable set. I do love buying whole interchangeable sets. I've purchased 2 whole interchangeable sets of knitting needles throughout my knitting career, my high sharps and the knit picks. And I love having them. They're awesome. They're what I use for everything, pretty much. But I do like the idea of purchasing an interchangeable set in pieces. If you end up getting the whole entire set, it'll be more expensive. But honestly, there are some needle sizes in my 2 full interchangeable sets that I've never used. So I kind of like the idea of just buying what I need as I need it. And that way, I don't know. I think overall it'll maybe be cheaper, or I don't know. It seems more practical to me to only buy what you need. At least right now. I could just buy a whole set. I don't know, whatever. I don't know why I'm justifying it. But I just really like the idea of buying it piece by piece as you need it. So I can't wait to use these. I bought a size 6 because it's kind of my most common shawl and sweater needle size. So we'll see what I put them on next. I am using a size 8 on my Marled Magic, so I will not be using these for that. But I would be willing to bet that I would do the eyeball shawl on a size 6. I haven't looked at it yet, but just guessing. So I'm really excited about these Licca needles. They seem really nice, and the join seems really nice. I can't wait to use them. So that was fun to get in the mail. And last little tiny favorite I'm going to talk about, which I kind of keep talking about every single episode, but I am still reading the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I am still on the 2nd book. I'm like halfway through the 2nd book. I just want to say like how good it is. Like I really like it. I read it. I started reading it on a whim, not really thinking it was particularly my style of book. And the first book was great and super fun, but that's kind of all it was to me, was like fun. It felt like kind of fluff. And it was super fun to get through. And I, at that point, was like, this still isn't really my style. And then I started reading the 2nd book because, you know, you finish the first book, you got to read the 2nd book. I'm halfway through the 2nd book and I'm just like, it like has captured my heart. It is like my book right now. I have fallen for it, you guys. I am obsessed. I love it. It is my style. Absolutely. I love it. I heard a few people say the 2nd book's kind of better than the first one, and I am just so enamored with the 2nd book, way more so than I ever was with the first book. The first book, like I said, was fun and it was good and it was super great, but the 2nd book is just like good at a whole nother level. Then, I just want to talk about it. I'm just gonna say the Night Court. I love it. I love it. Oh my god, I love the Night Court. I just want to go there. Oh, and okay, so I just got to bring this up really, really quick because I was like so proud. The palace at the Night Court has moonstone floors and pillars. Right? Like, was this book not written for me or what? I just had to say that. I love it so much, you guys. I know, I bet a lot of you have read it or are reading it. And if you're not, that's cool. It's not for everybody, I'm sure. But I don't know. Like I said, I didn't think it was for me, and it is for me. I love it. I love Resand. I love the Night Court. I just can't even. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. I just I just had to put that out there. My love for the Night Court. Okay, I'm done now. Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm on the second book. I don't even know what the second book is called. It's like how I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I don't even know what the book's called. I don't even know who wrote it. I'm gonna put that all right here. What is it? A Court of Mist and Fury. That's it. That's what I'm reading. Anyway, guys and gals, I have had so much fun with you today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not yet to be kept up to date on future episodes. Thank you for sticking with me and watching. I love spending time with you every week. I really, really do. Be sure to check out the Knit Along in the Ravelry group, the Deep Dark Night Knit Along. Check out the hashtag on Instagram too. There are some amazing projects being knit for it. Check out the new website if you feel like it. I think it's pretty cool. There is a lot of pink in it. Have fun and stay awesome, you guys. Bye.